some video games we've been playing.
Yes.
And like I said, I'll jump in with a bit of Alone in the Dark if that's all right. I know you helped me out with a little bit the other day. Did you play any on your own at all? Or I assume it's not really your cup of tea, is it?
No, I had plenty of content to be getting on with myself. I did tested it out to see if it killed my Xbox, which it did. But no, I haven't gone back to it. So,
Yeah,
what are
so
your thoughts on it?
Alone in the Dark, fucking awesome. Not as good as the Resident Evil remakes, but it's very heavily inspired by them. So it's like third person over the shoulder rather than static cameras again. It's sort of the pace of it feels very much like Resident Evil as well. You're not sort of really slow and doing lots of stealth, but also you're not just balls to the wall action all the time. It's sort of good, a bit of puzzling, a bit of combat, which isn't the greatest. A bit more puzzling, which is good. A bit of weird story going on, and then inevitably a boss fight or two comes along. It's even got like in Resident Evil 2 and 3 and I think maybe 4, maybe not 4 actually, where it sort of zooms into the door when you put a key in, and the key sort of hovers itself in and turns with a little spotlight shone on it. Exactly the same as Resident Evil. It looks identical, um, which I think probably helped me enjoy it because it's like Resident Evil. I like Resident Evil. And yeah, down to like just the way it's presented is very much Resident Evil 2 remake style. But it's a reimagining of the first game again. So you're at Deseto Manor, and you get to play as either Edward Carnby, who's played by David Harbour from Stranger Things,
Yes.
or Emily Hartwood, who is played by Jodie Comer from Things to Be Determined. Because I must admit, I wasn't very familiar with her before I started playing the game. But she, for my money, is the more enjoyable campaign because they basically follow the same story. But you get sort of different cutscenes at the beginning and the end, and then towards the end of the game, they both one sort of goes that way, one goes that way, and then they like converge back at the same boss fight again right at the end. And I enjoyed her side of things a bit more because they're there to search for her uncle, and she already knows all the people at this manor, so they have a bit more interesting interactions. Whereas Edward Carnby, he's like a complete stranger, so they're all very cold to him, and they don't really say anything to him. And his acting was good, but it was all very, what's the right word? Maybe stilted, I think is probably the right word. Like he was doing really good, like a camera focus on him, and then it'd be a real hard cut to someone else, and it just didn't seem to gel together very well. Whereas I felt Emily's ones did sort of gel together a bit better.
What is it with you and talking to people? Eh?
I love it. That's another reason I like Dragon's Dogma 2. You can talk to fucking everyone. Just every single person's got something to say. But yeah, it's good. The puzzles I quite enjoyed because it's nowhere near to the level of Dragon's Dogma, but you're sort of given a few tools, and then most of the time you have to sort of try and figure out the solution within what you've got. So you get, I forget the name of it now. It's like a little compass thing with symbols that are sort of aligned to numbers and stuff. And you'll see a puzzle and we have these symbols on there, and you have to use a codex to try and figure out what symbols you need based on the pattern of the numbers and all this sort of stuff. And it's not this. You're not going to be fucking whipping out the notebook and scribbling, diary entries down. Oh, I need to figure this out. It's not massively complicated, but it's more than just they give you the answer to try and, there's a padlock. Oh, the code is 213. Okay, right. Let's go back to the padlock. It's a little bit more involved than that. And there's some other sort of optional-ish puzzles where you can, find extra items and go to extra areas of the manor and stuff. And then every now and then shit hits the fan, and you walk out the door to where you've just been to a normal corridor, and you're in the fucking Louisiana Bayou or in some weird sort of historic World War trenches or all other manner of wonderful things, which I won't spoil too much for you. But and it's all like psychological horror, as it were. There's nothing really particularly scary or graphic, but it's all just weird. Like, did I see that? Is that weird? And then there's weird creatures chasing you and stuff. And yeah, it's good. It's enjoyable. Like I said, I enjoyed Emily's side of it more. I played Carnby's side first. It took me about 10 hours to get through because I was on edge the whole time, because it does a really good job like developing the atmosphere and stuff, and you're never really sure if you're walking around a corridor if you're going to be safe or if it's going to be monsters or some other weird shit's going to happen. But when you play it through the second time, as Emily in my case, like I said, apart from the cutscenes and the bit at the end which changes, it's all identical. So I was just fucking sprinting everywhere. Just, I know nothing's going to pop out here. I'll just leg it down there. I'll go over here. No problem. And I did skip over a few of the optional puzzles then, but I was just like, let's get through it and see what happens at the end. There's optional things you can get which give you a weird alternate ending, which I haven't got yet because I would play for it twice in like 3 days. I don't really fancy playing for any more time, trying to find like 2 or 3 more things that I missed in the game at that time. But I might go back to it at some point. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. My review is on xboxdemo.com right now. I think I have 8.3. Yeah, if you like, I'm sorry, I said like Resident Evil, or if you played any of the other Alone in the Darks, maybe not the last one because apparently that was really shit. But I enjoyed the 360 one mainly again because you could set everything on fire, and that was the whole point of the game was setting things on fire. It's fucking brilliant. But yeah, if you played that or Resident Evil or things like Clock Tower or stuff like that, then you probably enjoy this one. It's well worth checking out, I would say. Yeah, like I said, not your cup of tea, Graham, I don't think really. But it's short enough and it's easy enough to get through without too much hassle, especially once you sort of realise that you're probably safe most of the time until you're not. And shit hits the fan and you're like, where am I? Why is the monsters chasing me? I had a few issues pre-launch, which, as you'd expect again, because it wasn't out yet. They had day one patch, one of which was just I couldn't get past the part on my Xbox Series X. Literally just kept turned the console off. It's all right now. It was just pre-launch, but and there were a couple other things which again they should have fixed by now, but I haven't played through the whole thing again. Is like sometimes the enemies would get stuck on scenery. So there was one bit where you get ambushed by about 6 or 7 enemies, and I literally just ran up a staircase and they couldn't get up the stairs, so I just stood at the top and picked them off. But then when I did it the second time, they did chase me up the stairs. So it was just a random potluck, and then other like audio glitches and a few visual things, but again nothing major, and these should all be fixed now as well. But yeah, I recommend it. Very good game. Not as good as Resident Evil 2 or 3 or 4, but yeah, definitely an enjoyable enough sort of psychological horror experience. Yeah, so go check out the review on xboxdemo.com right now.